It's plugged in here. All right. Very good morning to you out there, myself included. Um, the thumbnail is kind of cute. It's like my Einstein, impersonate. I don't think I've seen shirts, like I remember you don't see it very often, but they said Einstein with the tongue sticking out, and I don't know if he ever did that or they just made that like a you know spoof, something to look cute. I don't think he was like a trickster, a jokester, a trickster. He would do something like that. You never know, though. You never know. You never know what people do or where they go. Let me give you an example. Like Stephen Hawkins, that guy that passed away, the guy in the wheelchair that was, uh, he was immobilized, whatever. But he could communicate through the computer, the thing. But he would frequent like strip clubs or like not nudist colonies, but like S&M clubs and stuff, or like like porn, like these like he would go, to this. So you never know what people do. Warren Buffett even hinted one time about his out of the box thinking. When it comes to like sleeping with other women. I heard him. He gave a little hint that he has fun with his. Hey, if you can't enjoy life, whatever it is, as long as it's legal, as long as it's legal, then what's the point? What's the point? Like some people, they have like this sickness. Let me take a sip of my tea here. This is the lemon ginger tea. Doesn't have much taste, but that's all right. So anyway, yeah. Where was I going at? Yeah, the point of enjoying life. Joe Rogan made some great points. I was hearing excerpts from his podcast. About how most people get trapped in this trap. This just over bills. Paying their mortgage, paying their. Well, I guess paying a mortgage if you own a property. So you are building towards something. You're owning. You're not just paying rent. Like if you're like working a menial job, making a pittance money, and all the money's going to rent, food, and gas. I mean, what? And, the people say, "Well, I can't get out from under it." I said, "Well, you got yourself in it in the first place. You kind of conform to society. The way of living, and I hate to say it, but you kind of you do get what you ask for, sort of, in life. I mean, that's I know that sounds like cliche. It's supposed to be good, though. You get what you ask for. I asked for a great life. I asked for success. My dreams to come true. Look, I was baseball. My dream was baseball. I want to be a baseball player more than anybody else. Even in seventh grade, the, the PE coach said I had, a very good baseball player. At the time I was a kid, it didn't matter. Like the higher up you go, levels, it becomes these guys can fucking play, and even though they're your teammates, they want to start, they want to play. I never really understood that, and it's like you kind of get pushed out whether you like it or not. It's a very very difficult transition. I mean, just you understand, I played on one of the best high school teams in the city, the best at the time. I mean, in the city. I mean, I want to rehash my story about my involvement, but the team's never been anything near what it was when I was, in high school 30 years ago. More like 32 now. But I remember the difficulties of trying to go to the next level. Playing college, it was very difficult. Okay, so I mean, I touched on societal, hierarchies, before, and it's an I mean, like the unwritten law. Everybody's supposed to be treated as equal. You are, but you're not. Think about like these nightclubs and stuff, guest list. I remember Arnold goes, "You're either on the A list, the B list, or no list at all." And this, sounds stupid, but it is true. Um, and that's really what, to boil down in a nutshell, what societal hierarchy, what I imply is that you're either on the A list, the B list, or no list at all. You can't get in. And it's not just into a nightclub. It's the nightclub of life. You're, you know, especially when you live in an environment like Los Angeles, New York. I've been there, but I can only speak for LA. And this is like, it's who you know. Well, why is somebody going to know you? Like, what makes you special? What do you have to offer? I watched this guy, this street performer, like in Las Vegas. It's Michael Jackson impersonator. He dress up like him when he's a smooth criminal, whatever. And he put on the music and he does the dance, and it's like he does the moves. Like he's practiced the choreography. But there's like no energy in there, and even the people writing on the thing, they're trying to give him like, hey, clapping, hey. But my point is that you just really don't know. I'm watching this guy, and it's like I'm not impressed at all. you know and the reason I'm not impressed is because I've seen the best. I mean, not just the Michael impersonators, I mean real dancers. And it's like, I used to think I go out there and doing all these different types of dances and things, and it's not a big deal. People will give you positive reinforcement and stuff, but you can understand, like, a real freestyle dancer can get down. I mean, I'm talking really get down, and I've seen them all different styles, but mostly like the funk styles of popping, locking, and just freestyle liquid animation, all different kind of stuff. But disco, it's like you might think you're good, or you might be doing something that's no big deal. I listened to Conway Jr. talk about this last night. He goes, like walking, people set up like a tightrope between two trees, and it's like 2 feet off the ground. Nobody's gonna fucking watch anybody going that, because if it falls down, it's like 2 feet. It's not a big deal. The people would watch when the tightrope was between over the Niagara Falls or the old World Trade Centers, connected. This is a huge, like the Sears Tower, connecting something other than, unless somebody's doing something totally incredible. you know, why would anybody care? Why would anybody watch? I watch some cat videos because I like, they're cute, but otherwise, it's like everybody wants attention for things, and a lot of shit is just no, it's not a big deal. It's one street performer that I knew is really really good. He's getting older, but he isn't dancing. The 40 years old, but this guy's probably 55, and he's got his health problems now and stuff. But this guy could fucking get down like nobody's business. Flat top guy. I know him. He knows me, and he expended a lot of energy, put on shows. Like it's so. And you're talking just like little crowds of people, little crowds. Like, now, some of his hits on YouTube, I think he's got a couple with 500,000 or something. But Guy's been doing this shit for like 40 years, and elite probably around that. And it's just like you're depending these people walking by to give you $1. I mean, it's like it's, it's, but you got to think big in life. I think I even told him, I said, why don't you get like a master copy of, this is when DVDs were more popular. It's just, you could take all this edits from these YouTube videos and just put it on a fucking DVD and get like 100, like 500 copies for like nothing because it's just your thing. Those little plastic cases cost nothing. If you get 500 of them, let's say it cost them like, I guarantee you, like you find a DVD place and say, look, I want to make like 500 copies with, in the cover thing, you give them a picture, maybe $700, $500. You find a place that'll do it for you, and he just has it. He have them there. So instead of these people giving $1 watching him dance live, after you see him perform, they go, here's my DVD, like greatest hits that you said you saw me. Like these people came from, they're like tourists in Hollywood, they go Australia or whatever, and he'd sign it. Like people would go home with this. I saw this guy. I saw this. He signed this. They pay 15. I guarantee you. I guarantee fucking to you, people would pay $10. Tourists to leave with something, not just a little memory in their mind that they saw this guy. To walk away with the DVD thing, easy, small, it's compact. But this guy, I think I told him, he's like, yeah, I don't think, and he's, you're not, and that means in Yiddish you don't have any smarts, you don't have any like I hate belittling people saying you got no brains, but you got no like brains for business, like to, and you gotta have that because it takes money to live. I gotta understand. I danced for free. I go out. I really loved what I was doing. I'm sure he does too. But let me tell you something. If you ain't getting paid, you're expending a lot of energy, really, to hone your craft for what? The day that's never going to come. I hate when people say, oh, that guy was honing his craft for years and he finally made it. It applies to some endeavors and it doesn't apply to many things. It's a vague statement. The comedians were honing their craft for years. You know what that means, though? They were still performing in front of crowds, though. And, like, you understand that people to go see comedy, for the most part, they have to pay, to sit at the table, 2 drink minimum and stuff like that. And the comic gets maybe $50 if he's nobody, maybe less, maybe free. I don't know. But they say honing his craft for years. It's different. Being a dancer is not like being a comedian. It's completely no. There's no such thing as just a single dancer of people going to see one guy dance on a stage with nothing else. No, one man shows are plenty. Rest his soul, Richard Jenny. I mean, Robert Williams. They sell out theaters. Not selling out fucking the Coliseum, but they're selling out like decent size, like theaters like the Pantages, or hold a couple thousand people. You go to see. I guarantee you, like Robin Williams could probably sell out like the Hollywood Bowl or something like that. Something maybe even a little bigger. He's a one. It's a one of a kind. It's a one of a kind. Even though I never cared for his humor, but he everybody knew that fucking guy was. Everybody knew. Even though I like George Carlin's type of real straightforward type. But Robin Williams, I mean, come on, dude, the guy shook the world of comedy. Now, there's a lot of people that have. But anyway, I don't want to talk about a lot of things I don't know about. But I like talking about things that I do know. And just like bodybuilding, the reason that they had to come up with this, now it's like this fitness weekend kind of thing in Vegas. They had to combine, because I remember, I read about this. Not really a bodybuilding historian, but I was curious, like, because it goes back. Bodybuilding goes back a long time. Eugene Sandow. Turn of the century. The turn of the 20th century, the 1900s. His posing and stuff. But he was a strong man at first until a promoter, a carnival promoter, said, "Hey, well, you know what? Instead, because what he was doing, he's doing like these things. He's bending like plates and stuff, those metal plates and stuff, and the crowd's like, looking. But then at the very end, like after he did it, he went like, like did a pose, like just like I'm the strongest, and the crowd just started like after he posed, and so like this promoter sees this, right? He's looking at because this guy Eugene, look him. He wants to see Eugene Sandow. He want to look like what's possible without steroids. Back then, no protein shakes, just a guy eating meat, milk, eggs, or whatever. Good abs and stuff. The guy was like probably about 185 pounds, fairly solid on 5'10", and you know, people just after he posed, people like clap. So this promoter said, "Hey, you know what I want you to do? Instead of like going out and bending all this shit, just go up there and hit these poses." And it was like kind of like I've seen like the video because moving pictures were just starting back, in the turn of the century. So they're recording this, and you can see like Eugene Sandow, like going like this, like this. The crowd is fucking like, they're in awe, like Ronnie Cole, like watching Ronnie Coleman. You got to understand, there's nobody like that back then. There was the only guy, like it was. I mean, there were, but it was like seeing a guy in shape like that. People like just wow, look at that guy, and he's sitting there like this. Today, he looked like a nothing. I mean, God rest soul, Eugene Sandow. He wanted writing books too, like Eugene Sandow's book of Muscle and Might and stuff. I think Muscle and so. But anyway, very interesting how, and basically that's how bodybuilding got started off of that guy, and off of that promoter. And that promoter took him around Europe and did, the shows. And he was a sideshow of posing. The guy, like the father, that created the stage bodybuilding. Now, I used to hear they used to have these powerlifting shows in these like auditoriums. And at the very end, like 1 in the morning, dimly lit, the, the lighting sucked some of these times. I read stories about this, and they would have at the very end the bodybuilding thing. It's like people were there to watch the powerlifting, the strongman kind of thing, and at the very end, like people were tired, they left. They didn't watch that bodybuilding thing, but it was there, like it existed. Now, of course, Arnold, is the and it's you know yeah, he's credited for because of the movie, the Pumping Iron, that made it worldwide, that took it really mainstream, but it wasn't like it didn't exist. Was just a catalyst, a very big catalyst that Joe Weider's vision, like he needed somebody like this, like Vince McMahon needed like Hulk Hogan. It was at the time, that it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, they're using those people, but and they know it too, but that using, it's like makes them both like a good life. Now, a lot of these people that are I read a thing, where it said that after WrestleMania 1, Hulk Hogan went in to get his paycheck, and it was very sizable for, we're talking 1982 or whatever, the first WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden. But it was a huge deal. It was a huge success. So Hulk Hogan goes in the office of Vince McMahon and gives him the check, and it was for $500,000. The Hulk Hogan looked at the check and he goes, "Where's the other half?" Like he was expecting $1 million, and it's a very it's okay, all right. Well, I look at it like this. It's like, all right, that was the biggest event, but you're going to be getting paid constantly for other events because it's not just that. I mean, think about it, like how much work, really. I mean, I know like he's the main draw, but think about like you know they work 300 nights a year. And then there's other pay-per-view events, and then he's like, "Well, we're going to do WrestleMania too, and you're going to get even more, and you're going to get more off of your merchandising." I mean, it's like, but I guess maybe in Hulk Hogan's mind, he's like, "Hey, you made a fortune here, and I'm like the main star, and I'm getting $500,000. You probably made 100 times that." But he promotes the event, he creates the event, he rents out the facilities, he pays for everything, the licensing to get it on television, and everything. Yeah, he gets the money for the views and everything, but he does like everything to make the event happen. Now, let's rehash WrestleMania 1. If memory serves, it was not, even though Hulk Hogan was in the main event, it was a tag team. It was Piper and Orndorff against Hogan and Mr. T. Randy Orton, I'm sorry, Cowboy Bob Orton was on the side of the dad, the Piper. Anyway, but I guess I side with McMahon, closer to that side of, hey, yeah, you're in the main event, but you're not the only one. Now he is the Hulk Hogan, the Hulkamania, the whole thing. But can you imagine how much money Hulk Hogan made, like through his run for his time? I mean, it must have been very, very substantial. Now I heard he got burned really hard through his divorce. Maybe made some bad investments and stuff. But now McMahon, of course, a billionaire. Like because he created basically World Wrestling Entertainment. Now it had its troubles. Like the early 1990s with the Monday Night Wars and stuff. But you know, the man who runs the business, the owner of the team, the owner of the company, deserves to make the most money. Period. And so, like Joe Weider did. That's why I relate this story to Joe Weider and Arnold. Same premise applies. And either Arnold knew it or not. I guess, in his mind, like Weider paid to bring him here and paid like to start, but he had to work too. Like I know because I talked to his friend, there was alive, God rest his soul, Franco Columbu. He told me like when they were doing bricklaying work, and Franco would negotiate for, you know, fair prices. Arnold really didn't understand how, but Franco would tell him like, I think we can get, Arnold was like, well, should we charge 300? I think we get 700 for it. He'd tell me how Franco would do the negotiations and how they lived in a small apartment, but the whole thing was he had thought big. They thought big, or he did anyway. I'm not knocking Franco. He wanted to be a chiropractor. Like hey, if that's what that fine. Like not not everybody has to be a business, tycoon that, wants to be a billionaire, but, you wanted to be a chiropractor. One, still like, two-time Mr. Olympia. I mean, that's like, it just goes down in history. I mean, you're regarded as one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. That the thing in the pictures up in Gold's Gym in the Mecca, like with all the other great ones. But anyway, like back to, Weider and Arnold, that was, he gave him, the whole thing was, it was he saw something that had a lot of potential, that was young, that it was willing to work hard, but he had his own vision too. It wasn't just body. He could have stayed with just bodybuilding, but no, like he knew he could make it in real estate. He could make it in entertainment. I mean, that was, I can't. I still sort of am sort of, I'm sort of surprised that that guy became what he did. Because he was just kind of like, I never liked him. I never thought Arnold was a very, like, I just didn't understand. I see this guy and it's like, he's like this generic kind of oaf, like, and he does the same thing in these movies. Nothing's funny. It's like it's the same kind of, and I'm like, why the fuck is this guy? Why the hell is this guy so what's bankable? Like, I mean, I know I just. But for everyone, I mean, I remember I used to go dancing at the Roxbury, and there was a young Austrian guy came over here, security. He had big fucking arms too. He was short. I mean, he might have been shorter than me. This guy was well built, put together, and he said that he wanted to be like Arnold. He would come out here and be an actor. He never made it. He wanted going home. Like, heard this story a million times. It's a very rare thing. Anyway, I mean, that's just. When these people talk and they say you can be whatever you want to be, you have to work hard and everything. I understand all those basic, but there is something that needs to be taken into consideration: is age, marketability, bankability. What you're getting into, how much competition there is. You get into real estate, yeah, you got. Good luck finding deals, man. Good luck, like everybody's fucking looking for a bargain, to make money off of. I tried. I thought I found this burnt out duplex in Vegas. It was like in the toward the old Vegas by the downtown. It's like 25,000. Or like, and so I say to myself, at the time I had something close. I says, I could take a shot here. I could take a shot and get this property, tear it down and try to get some friends together and we could do something with this. And then I contacted, and they were like, no, I think we got to sell to some friend or something. People grab these fucking bargains faster. It's like going to a garage sale and there's something that could be, you can make money off. People just buy it for a couple bucks. It's the same thing in real estate. They find a deal, they just grab it. It doesn't matter. It's the land value. It doesn't fucking matter if it's if it's a deal, it's a deal. So this type of you're making it seem like whatever you're getting into. I mean, if there's any money to be made, there's plenty of people that are doing it. You're not the only one. There's plenty of people that do things that there's no money in just because they got really nothing else to do. obsessed or something. I don't fucking know. It leads me back to what I started with, the societal hierarchy. Like these people that are really good at something. If there's no money to make in something, it means, wow. Anyway, just kind of a brief one aside. I like to I like to try to, you know, talk about interesting things, that out of the box thinking, to try to come up with unique unique ways, things that could lead to potential business ventures or investment opportunities. It's like this guy that I know. I don't really talk to him too much because he's just too. He doesn't know how to think. He doesn't. For whatever reason, you know. And what I mean by that is he's not, able to be creative, and say, okay, well, maybe what about this? What about trying this? What about that? Now, I'm not saying I really know everything of everything, but I really did stick my neck out there and tried. I'm not giving up anything in life, but excuse me. It's a lot of things I tried, and really, really, I tried. You don't want to focus too much on the past. That's not going to help you. You do want to take from the past, from your life experiences, and try to use that knowledge to move you forward. Anyway, that's all for now.